Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters. In today's video, inshallah, we're going to be talking about what you need to do in the first 30 days after you land. There's so much to do, and we've all been in that situation. You know, you get this visa that is only 30 days and the clock starts ticking. Things we have seen families make so many big mistakes, whether they miss school registrations or they choose the wrong neighborhood, the wrong apartment or the wrong city, or they mess up the whole immigration process and they end up paying hundreds and thousands of dollars in mistakes. The good news is this is all preventable. In this video, going to talk about 6 critical things that you can do to make sure that your transition into Egypt in the first 30 days is very smooth. So the first thing is schools, choosing schools before you even think about the city, the neighborhood, and the apartment. A lot of people come to us and the first thing they ask us is, where do I rent an apartment? How do I rent an apartment? Although that is important, that should not be the first question. The first question should be, where are my kids going to school if you have kids? And if you don't have kids, of course, you skip over to the city. Which city is best for you? So we've seen many families rent apartments only to find out that the school they wanted to put their kids in is actually full, the registration is closed, or the school did not jive with them academically or Islamically, the environment is just not there, or the school is just too far and too exhausting of a ride. So they end up changing schools or changing apartments, and that costs them a lot of time and money. So remember, schools comes first, and then the city, and then the neighborhood, and then the apartment. So the second most critical thing is to make sure that you get your long-term visa. Remember, when we first got to Egypt, we had a short-term 30-day visa, and the clock is ticking. You got to make sure that you get your long-term visa. Now, it all depends on what kind of visa you need. If you're a student, you need a student visa. If you are going to be living here on a tourist visa that you're going to renew, multiple times, then you have to get a long-term tourist visa or a visa through marriage or investment. Whatever the case may be, you need to know what that visa is going to be, because your documents are going to change based on the type of visa you're going to apply for. The second thing is make sure that you bring all your documentation from back home, and this process actually starts from your home country. Your marriage certificates, your school transcripts, everything you need to make sure that you have, and you have it all legalized. And make sure when you go to apply, make sure you go there early, because it is going to be a process. You're going to be shuttled from one window to another. It's going to take some time, but it can be done. Many people do it, so make sure you plan for it. One of the biggest mistakes we can make is not getting all the documents that are needed to get a long-term visa in Egypt when we are back home, or not getting them validated at the Egyptian embassy back home. And we've seen many families who come here and they go get their long-term visa done, only to find out that they're missing a critical piece of document. And more likely than not, they have to spend hundreds of dollars if they can get it validated in Egypt, or sometimes they actually have to take a flight back to get that document so they can get their long-term visa, which is not fun at all. So it is very important that you have all your documentation, you know how to plan for this. And if you have any questions, which I know it can be very overwhelming and very bureaucratic in Egypt to get these long-term visas, you can always reach out to us through our website, which is in the description. So the next step is finding your perfect home or your perfect apartment. A lot of people think that they can come here and they can just simply contact a couple of people and find their perfect home. It gets really involved here. Remember, you are in a different country, in a different way of doing things, different language. Things work very differently in Egypt than they do in your home country. So let's take it one step at a time from the beginning. So first of all, you need to know what you want. Number one, are you looking for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom? What floor you're looking for? Do you want an American kitchen? Do you want how do you want the utilities to be? Do you want natural gas? So there's so many things that you have to know in your mind before you even contact. And of course, you have to know what city, what neighborhood, and where you're looking for. Because if you just throw this request out there to real estate agents and say, hey, I'm looking for an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, you are going to cast such a wide net, and you're going to get 50 or 100 apartments to look at, and you're just going to be wasting your time and their time. So naturally you're thinking, where do you find these real estate agents? A lot of people, what they do is they go on the websites like Buyut or Property Finder or one of the other websites to get to a real estate agents. But remember, keep in mind that those prices that you see on there on those websites are really high. They're really targeted towards foreigners who want to rent. If you want to get close to the real prices, you really have to go to Facebook. That's where a lot of real estate agents, local real estate agents actually live and work. So that's where you need to go. And the other thing is, when you do get a real estate agent, make sure that you get more than one real estate agents, so you can compare prices, not just one real estate agent and rely on them. And when they send you pictures, and make sure that you go and visit the apartment, because what you see in the pictures is really not what you get on the ground. That's been our experience. Maybe you get 30% of what you see in the pictures. And the final step, of course, once you've chosen your apartment, your favorite home, then you'll have to do a contract. Make sure you go through the contract with a fine tooth comb, and if you can get a lawyer to look at it, it will be even better, because there'll be certain things that you might get stuck with. For example, we know families that go into an apartment and the owner promises them, yeah, you know, the electric and water is all there, only to find out even the meters are not installed. So they have to be responsible for installing the meters, which can be a big problem. I know of a friend of ours who actually went into an apartment and then found out that the internet was not there. When he reached out to the owner said actually the internet, the fiber internet, had not reached that area of the city. So again, so basically they had to look for another apartment. So we're talking about lost commission that he had to pay to the real estate agent, and then lost deposit that he had to pay the owner, because he just couldn't work in that apartment. So these are the kind of mistakes you have to be aware of. And inshallah, if you do this, we have actually some videos that I'm going to put up here for you that you can watch about renting, and those should benefit you, inshallah. If you've been following us for a while, you know we talk about a lot of practical tips, a lot of practical ways of moving to Egypt, living in Egypt. One of the things that can be really overwhelming is these first 30 days. There's so many things that you have to accomplish, and you want to make sure that they are done right, in the right order. Inshallah, we have created this 30-day program for you that you can actually follow step by step. We've put this first 30-day program on our website, which is in the description. So the next one is getting hit with a surprise tax on your phone when you get the Egyptian phone number. So you definitely need the Egyptian phone number for many things, from, you know, dealing with the government, dealing with real estate agents, calling a cab, and doing many other things. So it is a necessity for you to have the Egyptian phone number, because if you are using your American number, first, it's going to cost you more. And the second thing is they're going to know you're an American, so the prices are going to probably go up. So, but one of the things that people don't notice is when they get their Egyptian SIM, they pop it right into their phone, and there is a tax of about 38% or 37.5% that you would get hit with after you pass that 90 days. And you can end up paying hundreds of dollars in taxes, and even up to $1,000 depending on how big your family is and how many phones you have in your family. So you really want to avoid this tax. We have a video, inshallah, coming out about this specific tax that we are going to be talking about, that I'm going to link up there, inshallah, later on. So the next one is opening an Egyptian bank account. A lot of people think that they don't need an Egyptian bank account and they can just come here and wing it and try to, kind of finagle, their American bank account and try to get money here. In fact, it becomes very inconvenient. For everything you do here, for example, your utility bills, your phone bills, your internet bills, your rent, everything requires for you to make a payment. And the easiest way to make those payments is online. So if you have an Egyptian bank account, you can actually have online banking, you can have InstaPay, and you can pay all of these bills in a second. If you don't, then you have to go and stand in line every time you pay a phone bill, every time you pay a utility bill. And sometimes those lines can be very long. And especially if you're trying to get money from outside, you send yourself money, those lines can be crazy. So it definitely makes sense for you to get an Egyptian bank account, for if you're here for the long term. But even if you're here for the short term, it makes sense because it makes your life so much more easier. So the next one is transportation. So the question is, how are you going to get around in the first 30 days? A question we get all the time is, do I need to buy a car in the first 30 days? Our answer is always no. You have so many things happening. You're doing your Iqama, you're doing your schools, you're looking for an apartment. You don't want to add that burden. Cars can be really expensive, and you have to do your due diligence to make sure that you buy the right car. And if you make that wrong decision, it's going to cost you a lot of money. What do we recommend? Since you're going to be going around to schools and looking for apartments, if you have to, go ahead and rent a car, although it can be a little expensive, but go ahead and rent a car so you can get around. Also, what you can do is you can take Ubers and you can take in-drives, and those can be fairly inexpensive. So once you're settled in, you have your school done, you have your neighborhood done, you have your apartment all settled in, you will have some more time to think and relax and look at the transportation around you, see if you can actually survive on Ubers and in-drives, or maybe you can take public transportation. And if at that point in time you determine that you need a car, that's when you do the research and buy a car for yourself and your family. So the 6 things that we talked about in this video are just some of the things you need to take care of in the first 30 days. There, if you do everything step by step the way it's supposed to be done in the first 30 days, you can have a very good time in Egypt. Otherwise, it's going to take you weeks and maybe months to fix the issues that are caused in the first 30 days. Not only that, you might be spending hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on fixing those mistakes. So what we have done is we have put a step-by-step program, 30-day program for you together so that you can follow that. There's multiple videos in there. There are spreadsheets and trackers for you to follow step by step and make your transition to Egypt really, really smooth. May Allah do what is best for you and your family.